Are you having issues with your character designs? Are your characters all looking kind of bland when standing side by side? Do you have, like, a line of the same white girl with the same button nose and the same big Elsa eyes? Are you experiencing same face syndrome? And let's be honest, they have the same style in terms of clothing, the same body type. Are you noticing that a lot with your characters? A lot of the features that you're applying to these characters, do you notice that appears more frequently in the data sets for AI? If you're experiencing these problems, you may also be drawing too many white people.
Hey everybody, my name is Arthur. This is I Dream of Entropy, the YouTube show where I try to teach you how to avoid AI data scraping by making your art more woke. Actually, what I mean is learning basic fundamentals. Because let's be real, if you're an artist that draws people, and you can't draw people in every way they exist, you're going to be missing out. You're going to be missing out on potential clients who don't see themselves represented in your art. You're going to see, more art that looks so similar to your art because you're doing things, like you're referencing things that most other artists are doing. And thirdly, you're going to see the same features in your art represented often in AI datasets. So, how do you make your art stand out when the AI dataset is full of impeccable art drawn in more or less the same style? Like, all of them kind of look like Elsa, and they all have kind of that really polished rendering look. They all have the perfect skin, As you can see, that's not really how I draw in the first place. I'm just trying to draw a generic white woman for you. I know not all white women look the same, so before you even come at me in the comments, I am talking about archetypes and averages. I am an artist that's been doing this for many years, and I've sunk a lot of time into figuring out how this works and how to make a good character. Granted, I'm self-taught, but I didn't have to spend any money to get this knowledge, so I don't think you should have to either. That's why I want to share with you. So here we have two similar looking women, right? And when you take the color away, they look real similar. And you also notice this woman depicted often in the datasets. But here's something you don't see depicted often in AI datasets. For some reason, AI datasets don't tend to depict black women well. It's just something that I've noticed, that for some reason, I don't know if they just don't have enough professional quality depictions, or if the people scraping the images simply do not add it to the dataset, but you don't see black women depicted by AI art, and when they are, the depictions are not that great. Like, I'll show you an example here of them trying to do a black person with AI. It's just, they're not there yet. The technology is not there yet, and that's a weak point that we can exploit. They're not, like, AI hasn't caught up to all faces yet. But you're an artist and you can draw anybody. So you're like, okay, I'll make one of my characters black. Not too hard, right? I'll just change the skin color and the hair color. Boom, now she's black. And that is a pretty accurate job on the skin tone. Good job. I see a lot of people struggling with that. But here's the problem. No, she's not. No, she's not. Look at her. That's still a white bitch. Try again. I was born with an unfortunate handicap for a man, So, as far as I'm concerned, I can say the words, right? Or did I lose the ability to say bitch when I transitioned? I don't know. So, already we've run into problems. So we're gonna need to look at some examples. Now, this is just like a simple image search. There's probably going to be AI in it. I would suggest you get a magazine. An old magazine would work well. Get, like, literally church pamphlets. Like, anything where it's a depiction of a real person, is great. It's golden, you know? Or, if you want to be that weirdo who brings his sketchbook everywhere, like I did, and draws people on the boardwalk at Virginia Beach, that's what I used to do, because it was a great place to learn anatomy of people that just simply aren't depicted. Like, you don't see people drawing a whole lot of, you know, fat people, so you don't understand how those bodies work, and how, like, I was having difficulty drawing something and it was frustrating me, so I took my sketchbook to the beach. It was the only thing to do back then. But now we have a lot more options. And with social media, literally just follow some real people and ask them from time to time if the pose is okay to reference.
Yeah, except him. That man has never existed. That man has not and will not ever exist. That is an AI-generated image right there. And you see exactly what I'm talking about? How uncanny it is? How they clearly, you know, don't understand what this person should look like?
And as you can see, these people look very different. These women, they look different from each other. Not just, you know, the texture of their hair, how their hair is styled, different facial features. Like, you can see averages and archetypes across these different people, like different alternative fashions. And you'll see, like, averages in different shapes, like face shapes and nose shapes, eye shapes, and lip shapes. But there's so much variety and so much potential that you should not be avoiding this. I've seen so many artists argue why they shouldn't have to learn to draw people of other races, and it's like, A, you're going to have a wider client base if you do this. If you work on drawing people however they can exist, you're going to be able to get more work. And you'll be better. You'll be a better artist. You'll have an edge over AI, and you'll have an edge over other artists who refuse to do the work. So just do the work.
But Arthur, everybody's so easily offended these days. What if I draw a caricature by accident? You know, I'm a stylized artist. What if I stylize racial features wrong? I want to introduce you to Mr. Popo.
Mr. Popo is a character from Dragon Ball Z who is not a black man, but a mythical creature. The depiction resembles a vaudeville caricature. That's about the nicest way I can say it. I mean, look at this guy. A shoe polish black with, like, these donut-shaped lips. The artists claim that the character was not based on racial stereotypes. It is, however, possible that the influence of early American cartoons' depiction of black people made its way into the consciousness of the creators. All the way in Japan. What a legacy. And so I think that's probably why Mr. Popo looks like that. Because although it wasn't done maliciously, those features, yeah, that came from vaudeville depictions. That came from Jim Crow, antebellum South. Those are some depictions of a person that would only be seen, right, would only come from that area, that unfortunate time in history. Like, you can't say that that's not the inspiration, because look at the fella. Like, this is probably the worst example I can safely show you here of an offensive stylization of racial features. The character isn't a black person, but it's hearkening to such a dark time in American history for black people. It's inexcusable as a character design. It's just inexcusable. You cannot do something like this. So, how do we avoid it? Okay, so you've told me how not to design a black person, but how do I make a design good? If I've only drawn one kind of face for years, how do I go about changing and drawing people who don't look like me or the reference images I have? How do I avoid same face syndrome when I am drawing people who I don't look like? I can't just look in a mirror, and I don't want them all looking the same because I've used the same reference over and over again. You're right. Those are things to be concerned about. Imaginary artists being oddly obstinate about learning basic fundamentals. How do you avoid that? Well, this is something you can apply to all your characters. Study the culture. If she's black, how is she black? Is she Haitian? Is she Southern? Is she from Louisiana? Is she from New York? Is she from California? Is she from Chicago? Like, is she transgender? All of these things will affect things like clothing styles, hairstyles, makeup choices, and the possible genetic makeup of your character. I'll get into designing transgender folks specifically in another video because the variation is crazy. It's gonna blow y'all's minds. For now, let's stick to stylizing these faces and making them translate to my specific art style while not drawing a caricature. We can see a variation in eye shape, nose shape, lip shape, jaw shape, like we did in our images earlier. We can see tendencies across these, facial features. We can see kind of like archetypes of styles, clothing styles, hairstyles, It would be a little incongruent if you're, like, depicting a stud with, like, ass-length relaxed hair and false eyelashes. That's not something that archetype normally wears, you know what I mean? So, you're looking at people, you're looking at averages, you're thinking about what your particular character is going to like in terms of hairstyle, in terms of accessories for their clothing. They might even speak differently with a different dialect if they're from a different part of the country or the world. Not to be America-centric, I understand that, America isn't the only place where, like, there's racial diversity. There's just so much here. And it's where I live. It's what I know. But I do love seeing artists from other countries depicting, like, styles of foreigners who live in their countries. That's cool. I see that often. I'm on a bit of a tangent right now. But yeah, we can see all kinds of tendencies. We can, mix up facial features. We can, mix up things that are more common with less common. You're going to want to think long and hard about what fits. You're going to want to follow the lead of artists of the race that you're attempting to depict, because there are artists of that race who have done it well for many years, and they have a lot to teach you. Listen to them. I promise nobody's going to get offended if you ask them how to respectfully portray them and their culture. People are usually pretty excited about that kind of thing. And like most things, if you're coming from a genuine place and you really want to better your craft and understand the people you're depicting, they'll be kind. Most people aren't going around looking to be offended. The internet is a poor example of that remark, I know. We've got to remember that a lot of rage bots exist and a lot of people just looking to get the attention that they weren't getting at home, that kind of thing. Now, I know there are still going to be some of you arguing, I draw in an anime style, certain ethnic features don't translate well to anime. To that I say, professionals in the industry are doing it. It's a skill issue that can be easily fixed. If you can't draw a person of any race in your style, you're lacking in fundamentals. You need to lock in. Don't blame people for having a face you can't depict, because professional artists are going to clown on you every time. We know it's possible. We know you're lazy. Just do the work. Now I'm going to give you all some tips and tricks for using underrepresented ethnic features to create badass character designs that are less likely to be rated by AI. And even less likely to be rendered correctly. So, here we've got a bunch of women of the same race. Do you see how different people can look? I know, it's crazy. First thing I want to teach you how to do is dark skin. Now, when depicting characters with very dark skin, you don't want to simply take the slider that you usually use for white skin, right? You don't want to take this slider and simply drag it down. Right? Because you've got to remember that melanin is a pigment. People with darker skin have more pigmented skin. So when you just drag the slider down and don't change the saturation, they look dehydrated. Baby, don't drink her water, alright? So you're gonna want to give her a little bit more pigment so that she doesn't look dead. Look how much better she looks. Give her a little bit of rouge. Cutie. Yeah. You see how much better that looks? And when you get to very dark skin, highlights become your friend. Highlights are very important with dark skin, and you can do really fun things with the makeup. Like, you can add glitter to really, you know, give them a fun style. And, you know, I have fun. I have fun depicting people that I see, like, out in public. I'm like, oh, wow. Look at that person. I bet they're really interesting, you know? Let's see, monolid. Now, this is tricky, because a lot of people of a variety of ethnicities have monolids. And to depict them correctly, you're gonna want to look at averages in a group. The same way that you did to stylize these characters, you're gonna want to look at a variety of people with a monolid to depict it correctly. Now, you're going to want to take into account what the majority of the people with the feature you're trying to depict look like. Because if you're drawing, like, a black person with a monolid versus, like, an East Asian person with a monolid, they might look a little bit different. A little dissimilar. Let's see. Yeah. Now, I'm a little embarrassed of this, but I used to use, like, the BL manga, like, seme eyeball for people with monolids, and it looked atrocious. Hold on, let's pick some values. Let's stop giving these girls, like, nothing to work with. Let's give them. Let's see. I think she's mixed race. Let's make her, like, on a lighter, maybe like a light tan. Yeah. Maybe like Afro-Latina. Yeah. And see, you can really depict a lot, like a variety, just by changing one thing about your subject. And it'll give you more ideas. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, so they all have values now, and they all kind of make sense, right? With textured hair, you're gonna want to study the texture of hair when you're depicting people with protective hairstyles. You're going to want to know what hairstyles work with their texture of hair. And do they relax their hair? Do they straighten or treat their hair? Do they dye their hair? Like, there are so many design possibilities with textured hair. Honestly, the fact that more artists aren't taking advantage of, like, one of the most diverse ways that people can style their hair blows my mind. There's so many things you can do. Like, don't draw just the Killmonger locks, alright? You've got, you know, a million things to choose from. You got waves, micro braids, butterfly locks, twists, the curl, the fro, the fade. You've got so many different, like, hairstyles to pick from. Don't do just the one or two. Yeah. Hold on a second, real quick. I'm just gonna pop out and fill in these colors. Alright, back now. Yeah. I went ahead and put some flats in. I didn't do much highlighting. I just kind of wanted to give a basic, you know, give y'all an understanding of the amount of diversity that you can include, like, the amount of different ways that people can look. There aren't just, you know, the two hairstyles and the one skin complexion. Like, there's a million different ways that black people could look, and I'm using black people as an example because, in particular, I noticed, you know, I noticed them kind of ignored by media. Black people are also having a moment as far as animated media and like media in general. Like, I don't know if you've seen the recent release of Sinners. I saw it last night at a drive-in theater. It did rain right at that post-credit scene. It was very frustrating. I really wanted to see the end. Astounding. Like, the excellence of black artists is incredible right now. Like, everything that's happening in America and y'all are still trucking, I'm impressed. But yeah, I just wanted to share, some of my ideas on fundamentals that I feel could improve a lot of artists' work. And the nicest thing anybody's ever said about my art is that it made them feel seen. That's the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me about my art. I don't care about how good I am because I'll never see it. Like, I see improvement, sure, but I'm never satisfied with it. The only thing you can tell me is that my art did something good for you. That's something that will actually make me feel good. If you're serious about improving as an artist, and you see how difficult it's become, like, for artists to stand out, as hard as it is for those of us who are neurodivergent, you're going to need to be in community with other artists. You're not going to make it by yourself. Your art's not going to be seen if you don't reach out to other artists, and you're not going to improve if you don't have skilled eyes looking at your work. It's frustrating, I know. I myself have the worst combination of ADHD and autism, and treating the one seems to be making the other worse. I get it. It's hard to talk to people, but if you draw people, you're going to have to talk to people. You know, if you don't learn from other artists and use the resources that are already out there in abundance for you, you're going to be disappointed in your own work. You won't improve because you'll run out of internal inspiration before you find a challenge to rise to. I need y'all to get your asses in gear, because the art community is lonely right now, and I want friends. Honestly, I just want more good art to look at, and good artists to have camaraderie with. That's all I've got for now. I'm sorry I spent most of this time lecturing you, but it's because I want you to succeed. I want you to challenge yourself. I want you to apply yourself. We need more artists. We need to elevate artists who have been putting in the work. And I see you. I see all the work that you're putting in, and I'm cheering you on. If you like this video, feel free to click that like button. If you want to see more content from me, including future videos like how to draw transgender people, I'm your guy for that. This was a little bit out of my lane, but I think as a human with eyes, you should be, like, if you're an artist that depicts people and you can't depict all people, you're lacking in fundamentals. I know I've said this over and over again through the course of this video, but it's true. You need to be able to do this. Let's see, shop link below to my Ko-fi account. You can donate any amount, subscribe monthly, or commission me. My commissions are a bit expensive and slots are limited. I worked full time, to support my disabled girlfriend, so I can't afford to lower prices. But I'll keep doing YouTube for free. I'll see y'all later.